In the heart of Umui's village, shrouded by misty hills and ancient forests, lay the forbidden Obianuju Grove. The elders often whispered tales of its haunting. It was said that the grove dedicated to Allah, the earth goddess, was sacred, a place where only the most devout priests dared to tread. Any who entered without her blessing never returned the same. One Harmattan morning, Nkem, a young and restless farmer, stood at the edge of the grove. His wife, Amaka, had been barren for 5 years. Desperation drove him to seek answers from the grove, for he had heard of strange whisper, voices that promised the fulfillment of deepest desires. Nkem Biko, Amaka pleaded, holding his arm. The grove is cursed. The spirits there do not give, they take. I cannot wait forever, Amaka. If Allah herself curses me, then let it be. I must have a child, no matter the cost. With a deep breath, Nkem stepped into the grove, his footsteps muffled by the thick moss covering the ground. The air was colder, denser. He walked until he reached a clearing where a massive odum tree stood. Its gnarled branches reached skyward like twisted arms. Beneath it, he found an ancient stone altar, cracked but still bearing the marks of ritual carvings. Nkem, Noam, a voice echoed. Startled, he looked around but saw no one. Who speaks? Nkem asked, his voice trembling. The voice laughed softly, chillingly. You seek a child, do you not? What will you give in return? I will give anything, Nkem replied. A wind blew through the grove, and before him appeared a figure cloaked in shadows. His face was veiled, but his eyes glowed amber. Your sacrifice will be great, but your wish shall be granted. Return home. Nkem stumbled back to the village, dazed but hopeful. True to the spirit's words, Amaka soon became pregnant. Joy spread through the household like wildfire. 9 months later, she bore twin sons, Chijioke and Obina, strong and healthy. But as the seasons changed, strange things began to happen. The once bountiful farmland around Kem's hut withered. Chickens refused to lay eggs, and the goats bleated incessantly at night, staring toward the grove. The twins, though healthy, never smiled, and their cries often sounded like echoes of a distant forest. One evening, as the village prepared for the annual New Yam festival, Amaka fell ill. She clutched her chest, gasping, Nkem, the grove, the death. Panicked, Nkem ran to the village Dibia, the healer and seer. The Dibia, an old man with cataract-clouded eyes, threw cowries on the ground and muttered incantations. After a moment, he looked up, his expression grim. You have offended Allah by accepting her gift, but withholding your sacrifice, the Dibia said. The twins were born not of life, but of death. The grove calls for its due. What must I do? Nkem asked, his voice breaking. You must return to the grove. Only there can the spirit decide your fate. That night, under a crescent moon, Nkem carried a torch and walked into the grove. He reached the altar and knelt, tears streaming down his face. Spirits, I beg you, take me instead of my family. The air grew still, and the figure reappeared, its amber eyes glowing brighter. A noble offer, Nkem, but the debt is greater than one life. You brought forth 2 sons. 2 lives must be given in return. Before Nkem could respond, the shadows around the grove began to swirl, forming 2 figures. They looked like Chijioke and Obina, yet their faces were twisted with sorrow. Nkem, the voice echoed, choose. The torch fell from Nkem's hands as he let out a scream, and the village never saw him again.